Episode number 14, I'm Veronica Belmont, and we are here at E3 2009. This is, of course, our second year here at the trade show, so to celebrate, we're only covering sequels. All right, well, we didn't really mean to do that on purpose, but they are some of our favorite titles at the show. That's right, once you make a great game, the fans just want you to do it again, but better. No pressure, right? Assassin's Creed 2 relocates to Venice, where you get to go forth and assassinate using some awesome gadgets from your buddy Leonardo da Vinci. The epic Modern Warfare franchise continues the fight, this time with 100% more snowmobiles. And speaking of snow, wait, where's all the snow in Lost Planet 2? Oh yeah, it melted, leaving lots of squishy, yucky acrid for you to exterminate with up to 4 players in co-op. And Battlefield 1943 brings the classic PC multiplayer game Battlefield 1942 to the console via PSN, basically dropping a giant fun bomb directly in your living room. As summer heats up, Audrey Cleo chills out with this month's coolest Blu-ray releases. So sit back and get ready for a second helping of blockbusters all the way around. I'll see you on the inside.
I'm here to check out Assassin's Creed 2, the highly anticipated sequel to Assassin's Creed, and I hope you speak a little Italian because it's time to get your Venice on.
Assassin! Show yourself!
I'm with Gaelic, lead mission designer for Assassin's Creed 2. Now, Gaelic, just for anyone who doesn't know, what is the Assassin's Creed franchise about? What's the story?
The story is about Desmond Miles, who's a guy in the future, and he's an assassin, and the Templars are using a machine called the Animus to read his genetic memory and make him relive the life of his ancestors so that they can find pieces of Eden.
With this game, what do you think was the main objective?
The main objective of Assassin's Creed 2 is take what we had in AC1, which was really great, and add variety throughout all the missions, the fights, and every other aspect of the game.
Clearly you guys have been improving. Clearly you guys made it a point to make it look amazing. And I'm not talking just about like the cityscape, because you have this amazing backdrop of Renaissance Italy to work with. I'm talking about like when you're scaling the buildings, the detail that's put into it.
Put a lot of attention in the detail. Our team was actually sent there to take a lot of pictures and make sure that the city would be representative of what's out there now. We even have an architect and historian working with us on the team to help us try and recreate the city as they were back then.
Let's talk about Ezio a little bit. You're playing as Ezio Auditore da Firenze,
Exactly.
right? You are in Italy this time, and Renaissance Italy. Why did you guys choose to do this in Renaissance Italy?
Because for us, we feel like that is one of the main turning points of the human history. And there's a lot of cool things that we can use in our game, like Leonardo da Vinci and his inventions. There was a lot of conspiracies, murders, a lot of interesting characters, cool cities like Florence and Venice and all that. So we had so much material that we could use.
It was like, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty obvious. Now I hear that there are a ton of fun new gadgets in Assassin's Creed 2, because last time you only had you had the sword and the dagger,
Yes.
but this time you have a whole bunch of other stuff that you can use, right?
Yeah.
A whole bunch of other fun stuff.
More than you can imagine, actually. We showed you the flying machine at E3, which was based off Leonardo da Vinci's drawing. So we decided to put that in the game. Leonardo da Vinci also upgrades all your hidden blades. You have 2 hidden blades now. You even have a gun hidden blade that you can see at the end of the trailer. You can use a lot of different weapons like spears, halberds, axes, hammers. You can take them from your enemies and use them against them.
Speaking of all the moves that you can use, I did see one where you're basically impaling this guy with your own body. And in the first Assassin's Creed, that was a hard move to pull off, right? So what did you do to make it easier, I guess?
The assassinations themselves are more context sensitive, so for the air assassination, which was hard to pull off, now all you have to do is lock on the guy and press the attack button, and that's true for all other assassinations that I mentioned before.
Name your price.
changes like a ghost. It takes over every man it touches. Its thirst cannot be quenched until the last man standing has fallen.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare continues to be one of the hottest multiplayer games online, but developer Infinity Ward isn't ready to talk about their new multiplayer features just yet. With a juggernaut sequel like this, they're clearly calling the shots. We're just happy to come along for the ride.
I imagine you guys are pretty happy with the response to the original Modern Warfare. What do you guys want to do differently with this version?
Yeah, we're pretty blown away by the success. It took us all by surprise. I mean, we knew we built a game that we thought was great, but the success has been just overwhelming. I think with this game, we just want to make sure we don't disappoint the fans. You know, we've got this huge fan base out there that's supported us for so long. You know, we're popular multiplayer for 2 years now almost, and you know, we want to make sure that we bring to them the things that they want, the things that they're asking for, you know, for us to change, and we want to build something newer, but not ruin what we had before.
Was there any input from the fans that you made sure to get into the game this time?
There's a lot of things. I mean, we listen to fan feedback, you know, kind of all along as we go. So there's just little tweaks here and there on things, you know, that we wanted to fix, wanted to change, wanted to kind of accentuate.
Where do we pick up in the storyline from Modern Warfare 1?
This is the first time we've done an actual direct story sequel. So Zakiev was a villain in the last game. So once you killed him, you've now allowed his underling, Makarov, to take power. He uses the death of Zakiev as a martyr scenario to take power, and his agenda is more evil than Zakiev's. So now you're driven to really make sure that you stop him.
We've seen a lot of stuff with snowmobiles and ice pick climbing. How many different kinds of gameplay are there in this game as opposed to just being a straight-on first-person shooter?
We bring variety. I mean, that's what we want to do. We want to mix it up in location, so it's a global conflict. You'll travel all over the world, but we want to throw something new at the player every level. We don't want you to be bored. It's an ADD game. We like to joke around in the office, but we want something new for you, something new to experience every level, to break up that tension and kind of give you those ups and downs and really, you know, engage you into the story.
We've heard a little bit about the Special Ops, the co-op mode. Can you explain more about that?
Special Ops really comes from, you know, if you played the Mile High Club in the last game, the airplane level at the end, you know, it comes from there. It's those little mini missions that you just want to challenge yourself with. You want to see, you know, what time you can get. You want to, you know, beat your buddy's time. So as you go through the game, you beat single player levels, you'll unlock challenge modes from those levels. And some of them will be completely new, but a lot of them will unlock from single player levels. So you can go back then and instead of playing through a whole single player level, you know, some people might like that. Some people just want, you know, these highlight moments. You can kind of go through and then you can throw down the gauntlet and say, come on, buddy, you think you can beat me? So the big things that we really want people to know are that, you know, this is a sequel to the original game. You know, it picks up in the story, and I think that's important. The fans really want to, you know, we get a lot of questions on the fate of characters, certain characters. Are they alive? Are they dead? That shootout on the bridge at the end was, you know, was so chaotic. You know, who knows what happened? So, you know, a lot of those fates will be determined. Some might not. But
is there anything you can tell us about the future, the evolution of the Modern Warfare franchise?
We are just working real hard on getting this game done and making it the best experience it can possibly be. So, you know, we're not thinking too far ahead just yet.
You're planning on any map packs?
Always. We support the community. I mean, they support us. We have to support them back. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Месть на мне, и я отомщу.
When we first landed on Lost Planet, snow pirates fought for survival in the frozen wastes. Now things look a bit different, but the bugs are back, and they're bigger and grosser.
Real fast for anyone who hasn't played the game before, can you give us a little recap of what happened in Lost Planet and then where things picked up for Lost Planet 2?
Oh, definitely. So you started off as Wayne in Lost Planet 1. He was the main character. He was a snow pirate. He had memory loss, and there's a ton of big acreage, really big bosses, and now the snow has melted. At the end of Lost Planet 1, you saw that a little bit, and now it's picking up. This is about 10 years after, and all those snow pirates that existed are still fighting their way through all these acreage and everything else. So
what are they trying to accomplish? Like, why are they on this planet if it's so awful and filled with terrible beasts?
They were left there by a corporation. The settlement didn't go as well as they planned, and so now they have to fight their way to survive.
What things did Capcom take into account when building this new game?
Well, that's something that the team actually did right away. They started taking the fan feedback from the original and looking at how to implement that into Lost Planet 2. So the co-op, the new sprint feature, a lot of the new weapons, the VSs, the areas, the acreage, all of that was based on and inspired by the fan feedback. It's about 10 years after Lost Planet 1. Things have melted a little bit, and with that, there's a new environment. You're gonna see jungles, there's gonna be cities, there's gonna be desert, and even more.
Well, now that the whole climate has totally changed, how is that affecting the acreage?
Well, you're definitely gonna see a lot of brand new acreage. You'll see one in the city that has almost a very dragon-like appearance. He's got wings. He's definitely very devilish. You're gonna see another one that's probably 20 times bigger than him. So there's gonna be a lot of new, crazy acreage.
They're way bigger.
They are much, much bigger.
So how does it work with 4 players using one mech?
Ah, that's cool. So with the VS, the vital states that you can get on, there's gonna be one pilot, and it's different for each VS. So one of them, say, you can have 2 guys riding on the sides, and they can just pull out their machine gun or rocket launcher, whatever they have. There's others where you're the pilot, and the 2 can independently control those guns. So each VS is gonna have its own little unique thing where co-op and the teamwork plays into it.
What's your favorite new toy that they've implemented into the game?
Definitely a new thing called the support gun. The support guns are cool because they're not made for shooting the enemy. You can use it to support your team. So there's one in this demo that we're showing off that actually boosts how much damage you do. So you can sit there, you can snipe your team members, you can give them a boost so they're doing more damage, so you're helping them out.
Do you have any tips for taking down some of these big bosses?
Well, the one that we're showing off today, you gotta shoot the big spike on his back. It retreats into his body. Then you blow up his legs, he falls down, his mouth opens, you can crawl in his mouth and then into his guts and then fight him from the inside.
Gross.
It is a little gross, yeah.
One of the big announcements of last year's E3 was that there was going to be a Lost Planet movie that David Hayter was working on. Can you tell me anything about that? Is that still in the works?
Oh, definitely, it's still in the works. So David Hayter, great writer, he wrote the X-Men movie, and both Avi and Ari Arad are working together. They were producers of a lot of the Marvel movies and things like that. So we're super excited to have them, and it's gonna be a big deal.
Gonna help me get a role, maybe? Put in a good word?
Well, we'll try.
Battlefield 1943 is the spiritual successor to the PC multiplayer classic Battlefield 1942, which allowed players to use anything they can get their hands on to capture the flags. This deadly download promises countless hours of multiplayer mayhem, and that's a lot of bang for your buck.
So Battlefield 1943, is it a sequel to Battlefield 1942, or is it something different?
I would say it's more like a remake, spiritual sequel. So it's a totally new engine. It's next gen, and we add a lot of stuff that happened since then. So that's more of a remake.
Well, I mean, it was originally a PC title,
Yeah.
and now you're bringing it to PlayStation. What were some of the challenges in going from PC to console?
I would say controllers, basically, and also getting the performance up and so on. I think people that are used to PC, that are moving over to PlayStation will, they will get used to it pretty quickly.
For people not familiar with the title, what are the main objectives in the game?
So we have one game mode right now. It's called Conquest, which is a traditional battlefield mode. So you capture flags. So basically, when you drained all the enemy's tickets, you'll win.
Are there going to be trophies, or how are you going to reward players for good behavior?
We're going to use trophies, and we also have our own system, which we call postcards and stamps. So if you do all kinds of crazy stuff, which you want people to do, then you'll get rewarded for it.
With so many people playing 1942, what kind of tweaks did you take from your fans to make this game even better?
1942 is pretty old by now, so a lot of stuff has happened since then. So we added, for example, squad. So a lot of team play now. If you work together, you're going to win the game. Otherwise, you're just going to get your ass kicked. We added a persistence system, so you can rank up. We have up to 50 ranks, and all the awards for bragging rights. Also, the added destruction from Bad Company. So you can level a house to the foundation. You can tear down every single wall.
Wow.
All the vegetation, all the trees, all the terrain. You can destroy about 90% of the environment. The nature of the game is a sandbox experience, so you can do exactly what you want. So everything you find on Battlefield, you can use it. So if you find a boat or a plane or a car or a tank or any weapon, anything, you can use it and do exactly what you want. So like a very classical thing is to take a Jeep, arm it with C4, and drive into the enemy base and just blow up everything. And it's you can do it just because we allow it.
It's kind of unstoppable at that point. How do you stop a truck full of C4?
Exactly.
You blow out its tires. How many people can play online together at the same time, and what do you have in store for downloadable content?
We allow 24 players online, so 12 on 12 matches. Right now, we're just making this isolated game. We don't have any plans really on downloadable content, but if it proves very successful, then we sure can support it. If you look at the market now, what's on PlayStation Store, what you can get for $15, there's nothing out there like this. A full shooter experience for just $15.
Fantastic. And when is the game going to be available?
This summer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.